Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Fariha. My name is Nur Alisya Yasmeen with a matrix number of D20231105611 and I'm from Group D. Today I will be presenting my e-portfolio which consists of two parts. For part 1, we will be discussing about secondary English language curriculum, and for part 2, it's about motivation, language learner strategies and styles, ESL teaching approaches, and 35 Kagan cooperative learning strategies. Now let's start with part 1. The secondary English language curriculum is designed to develop students' proficiency in the 4 language skills which consist of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The listening components prepare students to listen critically to a variety of spoken texts such as lectures, interviews, or conversations. Students learn to identify key information, inform meaning, and evaluate the speaker's intent or arguments. Speaking skills are developed through discussions, presentations, and debates, where students practice fluency, pronunciation, and the ability to express themselves clearly. For reading, students engage with a variety of texts to develop reading and reading comprehension skills. They learn to analyze and critique texts, identifying themes and rhetorical strategies. This also expands their vocabulary and literary knowledge. Lastly, writing is emphasized as a critical skill, with students learning to produce well-structured and coherent written work across multiple genres such as narrative, essays, and reports. There is a focus on grammar, syntax, and writing strategies that improve clarity and impact. The main objectives are to enhance students' ability to use language effectively in a variety of contexts, to foster critical thinking and creativity, and to prepare students for real-world communication in both academic and social environments. The secondary English language curriculum in Malaysia is shaped by key frameworks: the Malaysian Education Blueprint, the Common European Framework of Reference for Language, and the specific subject syllabus by the Ministry of Education Malaysia. This framework guides the teaching, learning, and assessment of English in secondary schools. The Malaysian Education Blueprint, which is MEB, from 2013 until 2025, is a strategic plan aimed at improving the quality of education in Malaysia, focusing on enhancing the overall education system from early childhood to higher education. Next is CEFR. CEFR stands for the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. It is a system used to measure and describe the proficiency levels of learners of foreign languages across Europe and increasingly in other parts of the world. The CEFR divides language proficiency into 6 levels. A1 is for beginner who can understand and use familiar everyday expressions and basic phrases to satisfy simple needs. A2 elementary. They can communicate in simple and routine tasks requiring a simple and direct exchange of information. B1 is intermediate. They can deal with most situations that might arise while traveling in an area where the language is spoken. B2 is upper intermediate. They can understand the main ideas of complex texts on both concrete and abstract topics. Moving on to C1 Advanced, they can produce clear, well-structured, detailed texts on complex subjects related to their field of interest. And lastly is C2 Proficient. They can express themselves spontaneously, very fluently. And the last one is Syllabus Guideline. Syllabus guidelines are instructions or framework that provide a structured approach to how the syllabus should be developed and delivered, ensuring consistency and alignment with educational goals and standards. In the context of language learning, such as for secondary English, the syllabus guidelines help teachers and institutions understand what should be taught, how it should be taught, and what the expected learning outcomes are. Next is motivation. From my understanding, motivation is one of the most crucial factors in successful language learning. When students are motivated, they are more likely to invest time, effort, and persistence into their studies, which ultimately leads to better language acquisition. There are 2 types of motivation. The first one is integrative motivation, and the second one is instrumental motivation. Integrative motivation refers to a type of motivation where learners are driven by the desire to connect with the culture and community of the target language. Example of integrative motivation is when a student may be motivated to learn English because they want to interact with native speakers, travel to English-speaking countries, or be a part of global English-speaking community. The benefit is learners are likely to engage deeply with the language and culture, making them more likely to develop a high level of proficiency. Next is instrumental motivation. Instrumental motivation is a motivation influenced by external factors such as rewards, grades, praise, or other tangible outcomes. The strategies to enhance motivations is creating a supportive, engaging classroom environment, such as active engagement, building trust, and encouraging risk-taking. To keep students motivated, lesson needs to be engaging and interactive, so the teacher can use diverse teaching strategies like group discussions, hands-on activities, games, and technology to maintain the students' interest. The second one is building trust. Establishing a classroom culture where students feel safe and respected is key. When students know that they won't be ridiculed for making errors, they are more willing to try speaking in English, participate in class, and engage with new materials. The second strategy is encouraging collaboration and allowing learners to choose topics of interest. Collaboration can greatly enhance motivation by making learning more social and enjoyable. When students work together, they are more likely to feel accountable to their peers, which encourage active participation and effort. So the first one is peer learning. Pairing students with different proficiency levels can allow stronger students to mentor weaker ones. This fosters collaboration, peer support, and builds a sense of community. Now let's move on to language learner strategies and styles. Styles are crucial components in the language acquisition process. Different learners approach the task of learning a new language in unique ways. First, we'll take a look at language learning strategies. It refers to the specific actions or techniques that students use to facilitate their understanding and retention of a new language. The first one is avoidance strategies. Students will avoid certain aspects of the language that they feel they cannot handle, usually because of limited proficiency or fear of making mistakes. The second one is compensatory strategies. It's used by learners to overcome gaps in their language knowledge. It helps learners find ways to express themselves even when they don't know the exact word or grammar structure they need. Next is strategies-based instruction, SBI. It refers to the teaching methods that focus on helping students learn how to learn. In simplest terms, it's about teaching students specific techniques or strategies, explicit teaching of strategies, integration of cognitive, metacognitive, and effective strategies. Next is language learning styles. These styles can affect how students engage with learning activities and influence how teachers should deliver instruction to maximize effectiveness. There are three types of learning styles. The first one is visual learners. Visual learners prefer to learn through seeing. They are more likely to understand and retain information when it is presented in visual format. The second one is auditory learners. Auditory learners prefer to process information through listening. They grasp and retain information better when they hear it, whether in conversations, lectures, music, or any verbal medium. And the third one is kinesthetic learners. They prefer hands-on activities and learn best when they can physically engage with the material. They absorb information through movement and physical activity. The last one is cognitive styles. The first one is field-dependent. They prefer more structured and guided learning environment. The second one is field independent, which is more analytical, less reliant on the context, and prefer to solve problems independently. Moving on to ESL teaching approaches, there are 5 concepts in ESL teaching approaches. The first one is behaviorism, innatism, cognitivism, sociocultural theory, and constructivism. The first one is behaviorism. The theories is B.F. Skinner, John B. Watson, and Ivan Pavlov. There are 3 key concept in behaviorism. Stimulus is provided by the teacher, response is initiated by the learner, and reinforcement is given by the teacher to strengthen correct responses. Next one is innatism. The theories is Noam Chomsky. Universal grammar enables children to learn any language to which they are exposed to naturally and without conscious effort. The second one is language acquisition device, the LAD. Chomsky's theory posits the existence of a language acquisition device, LAD, a hypothetical mental mechanism that allows humans to rapidly acquire language during their early years of life. And the last one is constructivism. The theories is Vygotsky and Jean Piaget. Key concept of constructivism is active learning, prior knowledge, and social interaction. And lastly, let's take a look at the 35 Kagan Cooperative Learning Strategies are a collection of teaching techniques developed by Dr. Spencer Kagan to foster collaboration, communication, and active learning in the classroom. One of the 35 Kagan Cooperative Learning Strategies that can be used in the Malaysian ESL classroom is called Find Someone Who. The instruction for the game is students are given a sheet with a list of prompts like find someone who knows how to cook, or find someone who can play a musical instrument, and then the students were asked to walk around the room, find a classmate for each prompt, and write their name next to it. This activity gets students practicing language in a fun and social way, while still reinforcing the lesson content. The benefits of the Find Someone crew is to promote social interactions and helps to build relationships among students. And then the second one is active learning, which students are engaged physically and mentally as they walk around the search for information, making learning more dynamic. And that's all from me. Thank you.